Alright, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, Connor on Chain. We got the biggest nuke in the market we've seen in a while, guys. So I'm going to cover what's going on in the market, how to be playing this, what to be looking for, and the coins that I'm looking to jump into. So let's start out with Bitcoin itself, of course. We got to take a look because I don't know if anyone has seen any of the last videos I've made. I've been talking how I've been very neutral with Bitcoin's price action up here. You know, it's been very hard to be like giga bullish in a sense that where, back here Bitcoin was just going to print into a new high. When we have such odd looking price action, and in turn, obviously this has tanked everything. Everything is down bad. We're even seeing BitTensor, ended up having a run a week ago all the way down here, going to over 500, breaking that resistance that we've been waiting for, and it has now come all the way down. Lots of different coins are pulling back or have pulled back significantly here. And I'm getting questions too, like, are we going to keep going lower? Are we done? Is this the end of the bull run? Or is this the dip that you're supposed to full port and then ride out into the sunset going into Q1 next year? And things like that. So number one, do I think that we're fully over yet? I still do not think so, even though price action is still looking questionable. I would say it looks better here, the fact that we're down, because in any market, you want to be buying into insane red candles. I'm not saying this is the spot to be full porting, but the way that I'm playing it right now is I'm looking at only a handful of tokens. For about 80 to 90% of my portfolio and or stables on the side, I'm focusing on piling that capital into legitimately 1 to 4 coins, if that, maybe even 2 or 3. And those coins are some that I mentioned very consistently, mainly BitTensor, Hyperliquid. I'm watching those two specifically for like the higher cap ones, but even Pump, Virtual, Zora. Now even I would say Virtual is like number 3 on this list for me. And then Pump and Zora I still think are very strong. But also too, even Game, guys. Game is a virtual beta play that is anywhere from 15 to 20 times smaller than Virtual. And I think it's not just a beta play, some random ass coin. It's legitimately part of the virtual infrastructure. So that is a coin that I've actually been bidding heavy as well. Is mainly Game over Virtual strictly because of that. It's not just some random tiny little virtual agent to me. It's part of the ecosystem itself. So Game is one of my favorite tokens. It's a lower cap at the moment. But like I said, Hype and Tau, if anything, are probably going to be making up most of my portfolio going forward. Maybe and or Pump, Virtual, and Zora as well. That to me is like a deadly combo, 4 or 5 coins. But in the market, especially with this weakness and just odd price action across the board, it's best to be focusing on, I don't care if it's one token that you guys are giga bullish on, and just be patient, wait for dips, and look to get good entries on them. And then obviously it's going to depend on what Bitcoin does here as well. So as far as what I'm doing though, allocating, the main thing I'm looking at is, okay, so we are coming down, we've came down now to 103. So so let's just plot some support and resistance for you guys. I'll make it very easy. If you guys do not know how to plot support and resistance, I feel like I do it in a way that I don't know if a lot of people do it, making large ranges, but that's just how I plot it. I do not use just like small lines at tiny points, because price will usually react in a general range of, I guess, wherever price sits. So for me, if we're going to be looking at simple areas of where Bitcoin can go, this is where in this range here, we are about at 100K to 105. This range to me, I'm looking to allocate anywhere from 10 to 25, maybe 30% of the capital I'm looking to DCA into stuff. In this range, I already have deployed a little bit. Again, not like a crazy amount, but a good chunk where I'm like, okay, worst case it comes down, then I'll just add a lot more if we dump. So that's what I'm looking at here, but where I'm looking to add even further is if Bitcoin comes back into the around 90, I don't care if it's 88K, upwards of 93, 95. And so if we're looking at it generally here, Reason why is I consider this a general support range, and I say that because we had resistance here, double resistance, then into price breaking through it, chopping within it, and this acted as support. It is now kind of within this range. So again, it does not mean that this is just going to chop, bounce, and then attempt. We could go lower, and I have a feeling, I would say if I had to put my money up, I would think we're going a little bit lower before anything else. And that is where if we can have a continued downtrend, this will then flip into a resistance and will probably come back down into where? It is going to be, I personally believe this, I call it an internal support, would be this general area. I don't think we're coming back down to one of the biggest support resistance ranges in the market, which is 70K. You know, I don't think we're just going to do something like this. Yeah, like that would be fucking absolutely insane if we did that. But I do think the worst case scenario here, before we at least get a bounce, is going to be about 90K. You know, and I'd say I've been fairly bullish on and off. Aside from the last few weeks, I've been neutral because this price action has just looked very odd, like I've said. Again, I'm looking to add a little bit here, which I've already done. And if we come back down a lot lower to this range here, this is likely where we're going to get a bounce. I would say the risk to reward down here for anything is going to be substantially better than up here. You know, so that's actually what I'm waiting for mainly. If it doesn't happen, then if we see some bullish price action form up here, I will be looking to then allocate a little more. But it's just, when you're looking at crypto right now, to me personally, Bitcoin is still so high up. The risk to reward aping anything, especially if you're full porting your whole portfolio up here, you still have the risk that things can come down. It's a lot riskier to be allocating into anything. And I put allocating here as in for Bitcoin, but I just mean altcoins in general. Because Bitcoin comes down, Bitcoin leads everything. So the better risk to reward across the board, yes, it might not happen, but if it comes down a lot further, that is going to be a way better risk to reward on your buys. So that's what I'm mainly looking for, and that's why I'm going to be allocating most of my sideline capital down here if it hits. If not, like I said, we'll see how it moves and holds here if it does. But that's what I'm looking at least right now for Bitcoin and alts. ETH though, the reason why I say that too, same things. If we look at Ethereum, we had this support level, which I really thought the support over the last 2 months was going to hold and push us into a new high. But of course, that did not happen. Classic Ethereum. I thought it was going to run, but after we, touched this support 5 times, made some bearish momentum on the chart, wasn't showing signs that it wanted to break above, then we ended up nuking. But personally, I feel like ETH right now is kind of in the middle of thin air. It's not sitting at a really good support level right now, which is also another reason why if Bitcoin goes to about 95, maybe 90K, where is ETH going to go? It's as horrible as it might be for a lot of you guys listening. I would say maybe ETH comes back down into around 28 to 3K. And again, that to me is the worst case scenario here, which I do think is likely that we see that. But if we do, same thing. I don't want to say guarantee, because you can't guarantee anything in this, cesspool of a market. But down here, I would bet the fucking house that we get some sort of bounce eventually once it hits that. So like I said, you can be allocating on the way down, very slow and smart. Do not be full porting here, because then if it goes down another 20%, you're going to kick yourself and be like, holy shit, what am I doing? Or you're going to be out of the market because you just lost a massive chunk and you don't want to hold it because you think it's going to zero. So just be patient. Let these things play out. Like I said, I will be adding a lot more the lower it goes here. But that's it. That's how I'm playing it. Now let's cover a few alts, because same thing with like BitTensor, guys. This is literally one of my main coins I'm focused on in the market. I want to see BitTensor. I mean, honestly, at levels here, personally, I have added some, full disclosure. I've added some in this general area. Same thing. If we actually end up coming down to 330, 350, even back down to this fucking, support level down here, I will likely be adding a lot more in just sitting. I put my average about here just for like the buys that I'm making as of right now. So that's what I want to see. But usually when we get a huge couple days of red, oftentimes eventually we do get a bounce. But if I had to bet, same thing. It's just if Bitcoin and ETH, if they come back down further, what do you think something like BitTensor is going to do? You know, it's probably going to bounce up and then what? Come back down a little further, right? Everything is going to go up a little and then dump a little bit more if we come back down. Hyperliquid here. Hyperliquid is, like I said, I think anywhere in this general range is just the entry. Same thing. I did not allocate into hype yet, but I think I'm very much so thinking about it. But like I said, I'm still cautious of Bitcoin and ETH continuing their downtrend to the general areas where I said. That's what I'm watching, because if that happens, same thing. What is hype going to do? It will easily come back down to about 31, 32. Like, you can kind of understand and see what I'm talking about, because all these coins have levels where I guarantee they will fall down to if Bitcoin does this. If Bitcoin does not hold here, drops a bit, there's a range where it's going to fall to. Ethereum, if it does not hold here, it has a range where it's going to fall to. BitTensor, if it doesn't hold, where is it going to fall to? The range below, which, again, I don't think it's going to go this low to 300, but maybe, you know, maybe in this general area, like 320, 340, I wouldn't doubt it. Same thing with hype. It has a support level, one of the strongest support levels for this coin. It has to fall down if we come back down a little further, right? So that's what I'm watching right now in the market, guys. Legitimately, mainly hype and Tau, and then virtual, of course. But for me, instead of aping fully in virtual, I actually really like game, and so that's what I've been continuously adding. And that's really what I wanted to cover in this video, because I know these dips, well, not even a dip, this is a massive dump across the board. Very difficult to sit through, but you know, I don't think that we're just fully over here. But again, keep in mind, I definitely think there's still a fairly high probability we come down further, because we are just not looking good. And a great thing I like to do as well, very simple for people, look at Bitcoin on a daily chart, or not even, let's go to a 4-hour. You know, if you take away like the uptrend, aka in this case downtrend, if you look at this kind of price action, what does this look like? Is this something, would you buy this? Because to me, this looks like it's been building bullish momentum here. Maybe it comes like this and maybe it goes up, right? AKA it nukes a little bit further before we finally finish that bottoming out. We double bottom, eventually hit that and start moving back up, if that happens, right? So that's what I'm watching, and at this point, guys, I'm just trying to be as transparent with everything in this market, because it has been a shit show trying to be trading, jumping into stuff, in and out of stuff, while Bitcoin has been up here. You know, maybe earlier on it was fine, but especially since mid-October when that shit happened, it has been very questionable in the market, just trying to buy and sell stuff, you know, unless you've been on top of it every hour. So that's what I got for you guys today. Just be cautious, because again, we are still very high up, and it doesn't mean that we're fully over. But like I said, I think we at least have a bounce coming at some point. Maybe if we drop a little bit lower here. But yeah, in my opinion, I'm just kind of watching this. If we can hold a general support here and push higher, I think we do got to be cautious though, because there's a good chance we might have topped here in a sense where we will get a nice bounce, chop again, do something for a bit until, you know, maybe 2026 rolls by, we get more bullish news, things, ton of stuff going on like that. But for the time being, technically price, we are just sitting on a general support range, and let's see if we can hold it. So that's what I got for you guys today. In the next few videos, I will have a ton of research coming on different narratives and stuff like that. I've been doing a lot of different stuff behind the scenes for Gem Hunter Alpha lately, with our Discord, with lots of different stuff. So Lots of research coming because I think if we can get back into a bullish sentiment, and I don't mean just Bitcoin having a recovery bounce and people are bullish for 2 days. I mean, like, if sentiment across the board can get more bullish in crypto, we're going to see new narratives kind of pushing left and right. And I want to be on top of those, on top of the next major coins within these future narratives, right? That's what I like to focus on in the market. I look for what's next. And that's it. So I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.